That is not how you start a podcast off, right? You say, yo, what's the name of that book again?
You
What?
got to keep that in the bloopers. Okay.
No, I'm
It's
keeping that in the whole junk. That's gonna go on the first thing they see. And
betrayed him. He still pictures her as you are
this
part
is
of
when the pimp, I call him the pimp.
It's in a book that can be stolen, a book that can be cracked open in someone else. But Professor Tatuba does try to clarify when Malik goes back.
Thing they see, and we're back, sponsored by us. We are back with another book review. We have read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. And let me tell you, man, what a book, what a fantasy, recommended by my co-host Key. It was amazing. I know. I was truly invested. This gave me that fourth wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm vibe. I just was like, yo, what is happening? I really enjoyed the book. I read it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. First off, let's get into it. We're going to go through a series of rubric questions. This is going to be our new format here on the Key NJ Book Podcast, where we are going to go through a rubric made up of different things in the book that we can tackle instead of just giving y'all detail by detail by detail. Because we want y'all to go read the book too. We're trying to give y'all that push to go and read the book. But we're going to start with the plot and storyline, right? In this portion, we will talk about the originality. Is the plot unique? Or let's just go with that one. Yeah. Originality. And I'm going to ask you the question. Is the plot unique, or does it have a fresh take, or does it feel like a familiar truth, like a familiar story already written?
This felt really, really fresh to me. You know, vampires and humans cohabitating has been done before, but what's unique about this one is that the main character, Oraya, is competing in a competition with only vampires. Like, I've never read a book like that. And I love that there are goddesses and gods mentioned in this book, and they're not the typical Greek gods that I've come to know. They're all new. So I definitely love this author's fresh take on a timeless story. We've seen vampires and humans so many times, Twilight being one of my favorite books. So I definitely think the plot was fresh. I didn't know what to expect. And although there were a couple characters that reminded me of other characters, and we'll touch on that later, the overall plot was very fresh, very refreshing. I love that I couldn't really guess where it was going to go. What about you?
Right. For me, the originality was perfect.
Yep.
Look at the castle style. Just think about, we live in a castle and then we have our town, right? Yeah. We live in a big castle, but we protect the humans. We watch over the humans. They really just blood packages for us, right? Literally. IVs for us to just use at all times. And I've seen people talking about this is like Hunger Games. That's nothing like the Hunger Games. I get it with the games, just it being like the Kejari, and I get the similarities, but the way it was presented to us was so much different. So to me, the originality kicked in off rip. It's a different style from the Hunger Games. The Kejari is their own thing, and it's like there's nothing like the Kejari, but it's not just that is involved. That's real human life. We're talking about magic. We're talking about vampires. We're talking about cursed. We're talking about werewolves. Not werewolves, but the dogs that they had out there.
I think that's why they said it reminds them of Hunger Games, honestly. Because did you notice that some of the mutts, some of the demons that they use were some of the blood-born vampires? Like, they had transformed them into these demons. And if you remember from the first game of the Hunger Games, some of the animals and the demons that they had going after the tributes did have the eyes of the dead tribute. So that was the only thing that I found similar with Hunger Games. I mean, many books have that trial kind of thing where they go through a test. I don't think that's only a Hunger Games thing. And I said, I definitely think I've seen some similarities, but it's just the overall plot I felt was original and it was refreshing. I liked it.
Right. Now let's move on to the coherence. Does the plot make sense? And does the storyline follow logical progression?
Plot did make sense. I felt like some of the world building was lacking a little bit, I will say. Like Nyaxia, the whole point of the Kejari is to honor Nyaxia, but I felt like her story was kind of disjointed. I didn't really know. I mean, I knew she's a goddess and she fought off the gods to make it to be really powerful, but what else? Like, why does she have to fight off her brothers and sisters and her parents? How does she meet her husband? How does she make it out? How does she create the vampires? Like, how did all these things come to be? I feel like that part of the book was not very cohesive. We got random tidbits of Nyaxia's history, but I feel like otherwise it went in order. I feel like it all fit together. She had wonderful foreshadowing for certain things that will be revealed at the end, which I really, really enjoyed. But the only part of the cohesiveness was really Nyaxia's story. To me, it didn't fit as well within what was going on, given the details that the author provided.
To me, it did, and I think we're going to disagree on this one. But to me, I definitely felt like it made sense because I wasn't not necessarily looking for Nyaxia's background story.
Yeah.
I knew it was a series, so maybe they could have gave us that in part 2. I don't want to know everything. For me, as me following it on, I feel like I wanted to know more about, you save the gods for the next book, right?
I get what you're saying.
Introduce her. You don't want to introduce the god and something happen, and then you can't have her be a big intricate part in the second book. Or you know what I'm saying? So for me, I just felt like it followed logical progression, but this is us just agreeing to disagree on this patience. Conflict and resolutions. This one is simple. Are the conflicts clear, and is the resolution satisfying? I feel like I feel like the conflicts is super clear, right? We know what Oraya wants. She states what she wants. She knows what she wants. She wants to win the Kejari so she could become, I was about to say concubine, but it ain't that. That's low too freaky for me. What was the word that started with a C? It was his Coriate. She wanted to become one with Vincent, basically not being able to take over the house and being able to be almost like his loyal subject in a way where he didn't feel like his throne was in danger. So I felt like her conflicts was clear, and the one between her and Raihn. And I feel like throughout the book, it is so satisfying to see the resolution take place because this is what I wanted. Just because if you watch The Last of Us, you see what happened with I can't believe, I know his name is not Rick, but you see what happened with the main character. Yeah, you've been good by Ella, but that don't mean you've been good to the rest of the neighborhood. And when you got to go, you got to go. So for me, it did.
I will say I agree with everything Jay said. The only part of the conflict that I didn't really understand, and it wasn't given much detail, and it could be because, like Jay said, this is a series, is the beef between the Rashan and the Hiaj vampires. They was beefing basically the whole book. Like, that conflict was part of the reason why Vincent destroyed Oraya's land where her family was thought to be. You know what I mean? And I just wonder, why are they bickering? Was it just for the throne? I mean, all of them are Nightborn vampires. So I just didn't get the beef between those two vampire groups. Like, why did that start? We kind of understand in the end when what's his name, Raihn makes his declaration of why he's about to, kill Vincent. But up until then, it was just like, I kept thinking, like, why are these two groups of vampires beefing? Especially because it's only the Nightborn vampires that are beefing within. The Bloodborne vampires weren't really doing that. They were like working together. So I was like, why are the Nightborn vampires beefing? But that was the only part of the conflict that I felt like I wanted to know a little bit more about, only because that was such a big part of the story. And Vincent literally destroys all those people. And I had to know why. Why did he kill 500,000 people? Where was the reasoning behind that? I didn't get that conflict. But everything else, I feel like you said exactly. We know Oraya's conflict by trying to honor Vincent, but also she's falling in love with Raihn. She doesn't want to kill him. She's realizing her humanity, even with Raihn, knowing he has his goals. He wants to win, and he's at conflict with himself because to win, he has to kill Oraya. I definitely agree with you that those conflicts were absolutely played out. They were cut and dry, and I clearly understood what side everybody was on. Even sometimes when they were in the middle, it made sense why they were confused about which way to go.
Right. And as for pacing, is the story too rushed, too slow, or well paced for your taste?
It was well paced for me. Like, I felt like there was no part of the book where I felt like, oh my gosh, this is dragging. Like, I feel like every chapter something was going on. We were finding out new information. And I love too, I feel like what helped that is the author broke it down into parts. So it was just like, this part was exciting. Then we move on to the next part. That's a different part. And I don't know if that was the intention behind it, to keep it spicy, to keep it interesting. But for me, it did. Like, okay, now we're moving on to the next part. It got me excited. And I feel like the pacing was perfect. I never got bored when I was reading the book, and nothing felt rushed.
I feel like the pacing was well paced. Everything made sense going forward. Like, each chapter presented something new. I didn't feel like I had to go back and read anything or to go back and get something. I felt like she took her time when she wrote it. She wrote it in logical order that even me just reading it, because sometimes you got to go back to a fantasy book and be like, no, let me go back, because I know I had to go back in Iron Flame and I had to go back and forth. I couldn't remember all those bad guys codes. You know what I'm saying? Code or codex, whatever you want to call it. But everything here was just well paced. I really feel like she tackled that, and she did really well with the story going going forward. Now let's move into characters. We're gonna move into characters. Do you think, as far as character development, do you think the characters evolve throughout the story?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we started, Oraya was set on, I hate all vampires except for Vincent. My goal is to kill them. My goal is to be smart in this competition. Don't make allies. Don't trust any of them. And she progressed throughout the book and she found her humanity. You know, I feel like she talks about that. She was a human raised by a vampire. She didn't feel at home with the humans because she felt more like a vampire. But I feel like her heart softened in the end. Like, you know, the fact that she saved that little girl who was an unwilling participant in the trials, the fact that she brought Raihn back to life because she had found love, the fact that she didn't want to kill Mishi. I don't know how to pronounce her name because I didn't listen to the audiobook.
Mishi. Oh, you talking about Rashawn? Not Rashawn.
No.
Rashawn is Rishi or something like that.
Mishi, that's Raihn's friend. Mishi. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but the fact that she didn't want to kill Risha. Okay, she didn't want to kill her. Or Misha? Anyway, she didn't want to kill her when she had the chance.
Right.
When she had the chance, she didn't want to kill her. She was like, Vincent told her just kill her, and she didn't want to do that. So I definitely think we saw her character progression. I feel like Raihn was a steady character throughout the whole book. He was always good. He was always noble. I feel like he was always fair. He wasn't a jackass. So we didn't get much progression, but I wasn't mad at it because he was a level playing field. I think we even got some softness out of Vincent as the story went on. So I definitely think there was character progression. What about you?
For me, like, I like the character progression. For instance, we see, what's her name? Is it Angelica? She was the general? No. Who was the general of the army?
Jessamine.
It was either Jessamine. No, Jessamine was so remember how she came into, Oraya's
the
chambers
window at the end,
and she was like, yo, I'll serve you. You tell me what to do. Even though she kind of gave her lip early in the book, I felt like we learned a lot about Jessamine character. And because Angelica was old boy's Ivan's shorty, right? Okay, I'll just make it short. And I felt like that made me like Jessamine more because she like, I serve Vincent. I serve the king. I'm for the king. Whoever's in charge, that's what I'm going for. You know what I mean? And it made more logical sense for that. I like Ibrahim, right? The way we talked about Ibrahim in the beginning, even though, you know, rest in peace, Ibrahim. But even still, him surviving, you know, him.
I mean, he didn't have no leg. He didn't have no canine teeth.
Wings messed up.
He already
got stabbed in the stomach. Yep. Like, so it was just a lot that going on with that. And obviously Oraya from the beginning to the end, how she progressed from just not being able to have her human side to her humanity building up as she met Raihn. So I felt like she developed a lot throughout the book. For me, believability, are the characters' actions and reactions realistic? Meaning, do the characters make sense? Like, do their actions make sense? And could it be realistic in the real world?
Well, absolutely. I feel like that's another thing I liked about it. I mean, this is a fantasy book, but I feel like the author wrote the characters that, I mean, I didn't question any of their motives. I wasn't like, why the heck would you do this? I felt like there was one thing. I remember in the beginning, Oraya did not want to accept Raihn's help. You know, he had this potion. He's like, all you got to do is be an ally with me and I'll give this to you. And she refused. And I couldn't understand it. But at the same time, I could. It's not something I would have done. But she's very, very stubborn. She never wanted to depend on a vampire when they could turn on her. That was the only thing I felt like was like, girl, why would you do that? But I feel like they did the things that I expected them to do. The fact that she brought Raihn back, I expected her to do that. She loved him. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't want to see him die, especially when she felt like what I'm fighting for is not enough of what he's fighting for. You know, I don't know. I agree with most of the things that the characters did. Even Vincent being that middle man where he was angry sometimes but really soft towards her at the same time. His character just made sense. I didn't find any of the actions of the characters to be outside of reality or unrealistic.
And that goes into my next topic, which I'll talk about, is relatability. Can readers relate to the characters and their journeys? And I feel like you can, because look at Oraya, whatever you want to call it, right? Look how she started. She started off by being disgusted being human, right? How could they? Never referred to as us. And then she met Raihn, who was a turned vampire. He wasn't a natural. And how he kept to his humanistic side and how he kept to his humanistic values, that rubbed off on her, right?
Yep.
So when you look at somebody's journey, it's just like somebody who's racist and then they get around other people and they get self-taught and then they're not racist. You see these stories all the time with dudes them XX dudes, not Ku Klux Klan, but white supremacy. Right. And then you see them stories about, you know, them starting to mess with black culture and be cultured. right? And then they take all of the stuff off, and they no longer want to identify as that. So now you have her unsheathing her wanting to be a vampire up until she meets and falls in love with Raihn, and then she wants to be a human. She don't want to be a human, but she can more sympathize and really reflect on being human and the goodness that a human has.
Yeah, I think so too. Exactly what you said. Definitely people can relate to that.
Complexity. Are the characters well-rounded with clear motivations?
I would say yeah.
Hell yeah. Oraya know what she wanted. Is it Oraya or Oraya? I don't know.
You listened to the audiobook. What was they saying?
It said Oraya.
Okay, Oraya. Okay, I can call it. I can say Oraya. I don't listen. I haven't listened to the audiobook, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I feel like, I feel like. What was the question? Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm answering.
It's complexity. All the characters well-rounded with clear motivations.
I think so. I think they are. I feel like there was no character in this book who was just straightforward. I mean, even Jessamine, she surprised me. I mean, like you said, she was a character who she did not seem to like Oraya in the beginning, and then she comes back like, serve who is on the Nightborn throne. Like that is who I serve. Like, and you are that person now. You are my queen. Like, I was like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I would have to say yes.
The only person I didn't know who had clear motivations in the book was Raihn. I didn't know that, but he never not insisted that it wasn't going to be like that. He just never really divulged his plan. So even then, I can't really say, but I don't think it was clear to Oraya. Like as the readers, we didn't know, but we knew something happened. We just didn't know what it was that happened. So I want to say it wasn't clear, but it was clear in a way because he never really said it.
He never really said it, but that was clear enough to me that it has something to do with Vincent. And
exactly.
So that's what I mean. That's why I feel like the author foreshadowed. So I don't think that we were necessarily supposed to know everything that Raihn was going through because we wouldn't have had the ending. But I definitely think the fact that he was going so hard at Oraya over the Vincent issue, like, do not become his Coriade. Like, that's a really, really bad idea. Look at what he's done, how angry he was. It made me feel like whatever his motivation was in the end, it was going to have something to do with Vincent. So that's why I felt like she foreshadowed it in the way that he would act and the things that he wouldn't say. You know, he wouldn't want to piss Oraya off by talking shit about her dad even when he tried, she was very, very resistant to it. So I just felt like that was just a form. That's why I said this author does a really great job of foreshadowing. You'll get to the end and realize, oh, that's why he did that. That's why he, So I agree with you and disagree at the same time. His motivations weren't clear, like to Oraya maybe, but to me as the reader, in my head, I was like, I know what his motive probably is. But I do get what you're saying. Yeah.
I got you. Now let's move on to 3 in the rubric. We're going to start off with setting. This is the setting in the world building in the fantasy, which is so important in fantasy books because it sets the tone for the reader to be immersed into this reading world, into this realm, to make us feel like we're there. Because I felt like I was in Besgaia. I did feel like I was in the House of Night reading this book. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I had beef with the House of Blood. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was House of Night the whole time, in House of Shadow as the third one. We're gonna kind of go and I'm gonna say these questions in relevancy. Does the setting draw the reader into the world of the book? Is the setting well described and easy to visualize and clarity? And the relevance, does the setting contribute significantly to the storyline? And the consistency, is the world building consistency throughout the book? So basically, when I'm asking these questions, is the world building what it was to make out the book?
I would say yes and no. I already explained that I wanted more on Nyaxia, and I understand where you're coming from. This is a series. Maybe we didn't need to know everything, but I mean, the Kejari was completely around her. I just wanted to know, Oraya talks about this many times that people pay tribute to her, like they bow down, they worship her. And I felt like, then who is she? I never saw her as this great goddess. Like, she created the vampires, but that was all I knew her for. So that part of the setting, and I consider that part of the setting because the Kejari is the whole point. I feel like that was lacking. Like I just wanted more about that. But I felt like everything else that she described in the book was absolutely amazing. Like the Moon Palace, I could picture everything in my head. I pictured that top room where Mishi, Raihn and Oraya was at. Yes, I pictured the room that they were at. I pictured Oraya at their door before she passed out, before they opened it. I pictured the greenhouse when she was hiding and when she was fighting. Like I felt like it was the way that she described the setting, and even the Kejari, like when she described the dome, like that's where all the spectators, like the animals. I could picture everything that they were doing. I could follow it. I think she set this eerie setting, like first it takes place in this palace of the Nightborn King, and then this moon palace that gives as much as it takes away. Oh my gosh, the setting.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just took everything.
You
just
good.
literally just took everything from me. Like, I don't know what else to like to follow up with that, because, you know, she described the House of Night. She described the House of Shadow, House of Blood. Like, she described each one of these houses in detail, even the scenery outside where she was in the street, you know, killing the vampires for sport, you know, and one before it became training for her and Raihn, when it was just for her in sport, when she was protecting the humans. And it was like, I can visualize this street. You have a town, right? You have a city, and then you have the big castle. The castle is far away from, you know what I'm saying, the town, but it's still in the town, if that makes sense, you know? Yep. So I felt like she tackled the setting and the world building, and even in the Kejari games where her switching everything out, right? I thought that, that was so dope. Like, just waking up in the Kejari, right? Taking the blood the night before, and she woke up, and it's like, Kejari, what? I'm hearing screams and everything like that. Like, that was a crazy way to just start the games. And that was early in the book. Yeah. So I felt like she started to build from, like, what was that? Probably like chapter 4 or 5, you know, starting it off right early and then, like you say, in the greenhouse, after she had to get in cover, you know, to protect herself from the vampires and staying over there. So I just thought that, you know, she did a really, really good job at the world building, themes and ideas, right? When we look at themes and we look at the idea, sometimes we go into depth. How deeply does the book explore its themes, right? And the relevance, are the themes relevant to contemporary issues or timeless questions? That might be a tough one. Execution, are the themes integrated into the story smoothly, or do they feel forced? And then when you have the impact, do the themes provoke thought or discussion? What did you think about the themes and the ideas in our critique rubric?
What was the theme of the book? That good people. I will say this. We talked about this.
Don't judge a book by its cover. Because she felt like she was weak, right? And the way she described herself, how she felt to the vampires. Oh, vampires are mad strong. I have to press in and then push in and stick with jab with the heart. You know, their bones is bigger than ours. She describes it. She describes herself as small, but she has to have this advantage over them. So she uses these different methods, whether it's poison on her daggers, and she has to constantly get healed up. She even talks about it. One move wrong left, and I would have got my head taken off. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like the theme of the book, to me, like I say, is if you really want something strong enough, you will really fight for it.
I'm going to relate it back to politics, because that's a really, really big thing right now.
That too.
That even if something is for the good of your people, that doesn't mean the things that you're doing are not bad things. I think that's a really good theme, because, but seriously, you could relate that to real life. You know, Vincent, to the Nightborn, to the Hiaj vampires, he was the best. He protected them for 200 years. Like, that's never even been heard of. And he was extremely powerful. Exactly. And this is something that, you know, my husband told me. He is not from here. He's from Africa. And something that he told me, and I was surprised to hear it, is that he hated Barack Obama. And, you know, he was the first Black president. As a Black person, I was so proud of him. But Barack Obama, this is what my husband believes, was instrumental in the assassination of Gaddafi, which is a political leader there that was trying to, you know, and so I don't know. I don't follow politics enough to know that, but in his head, he doesn't like Barack Obama because he feels like you hurt somebody that's important to me. But of course, us over here are like, we love Barack Obama. Like, he made so many changes, like that were positive for us. So I just look at it the same way in this book. There's power, and there's those too weak to take it and those who take all of it. And Vincent was one of my favorite characters in the book because he was very morally great. He was a great father. He was a great leader. He protected his people for a very long time. But you consider he killed like a bunch of Rishan vampires.
He took out houses.
He killed his entire family to get to that throne. We get to the end and we learn that he raped a queen repeatedly before killing her. You know what I mean? He did all these terrible, horrendous things, but to his people, he was a good person.
And to his daughter, she presented like he's this great father. So,
and he was a great father. Like, that's in any life. Like, I remember my daddy. Like, he means the world to me. Like, that's my daddy. Anybody that would say anything about him, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, my daddy is a great dad. But just because he's a great dad to me does not mean other people don't have less positive experiences with him. And I think this book makes you face that and acknowledge it. Is Vincent a bad person? I don't know. Is he? He's not a bad father. You know,
he's not a bad father, but
is he a bad person? You know what I mean?
And that's the discussion part that we're talking about with themes and ideas. Nothing felt forced. And these are the conversations that you could have, because you can, on one hand, you can say Vincent the father, and even she said it in the book, Vincent the father was amazing. I don't know who's talking to me sometimes. Is it Vincent the ruler? Is it Vincent the father? Is it Vincent the king? So in that sense, you got to think about it. She knows him because that's her dad, but the other people know him as a tyrant.
Exactly.
So which one do you go with? You know what I'm saying? It just depends on what house you holding down. You know what I mean?
But that's why I said he is an excellent, to me, morally gray character, because there's parts of him that I really love and there's parts that I understand. This is the vampire's way. That's why Ibrahim's family wounded him so much, because they were not ready to relinquish power. And in order for a vampire to get power, they had to take down their families. Vincent did so many terrible things, but I look at his rule. He was a very strong leader. He was absolute in his decisions to kill all these people. He was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And there was something that was just, I respected about it. He really didn't care if anybody disagreed with his decisions. He was absolutely like, you come for me, I'm going to wipe out your entire family. And I'm still undecided on if like that was a good thing for protecting his people or bad, because you didn't have to kill 500,000 people. But it's a theme. Like, you know, good people do bad stuff, bad people do good stuff. So
well, let's move on to the writing style, right? We have the voice, we have the clarity, we have the tone, and we have the literary devices. So with the voice, we go, is the author's voice distinctive and appropriate for the story? In clarity, we have, is the writing clear and accessible to the target audience? Does the tone match the content and the intention of the book? And literally devices, metaphors, like you said before, you mentioned foreshadowing, which I didn't even see that you did that one, but that was clever right there. You kind of already answered, right? You already answered the literary devices, but as far as like the voice, what did you think about, like, is the voice for the Oraya? I listened to it, but if you're reading it, is it appropriate for the story?
Absolutely. I think that her voice was appropriate. The one that I found, and I touched on this in the very beginning, Raihnn's voice, although I really, really liked him, his voice sounded very familiar. I know you've never read ACOTAR, but there's a character in the book. His name is Rhys. And just like Raihn, they are both men with wings. Of course, Rhys is Fae. Raihn is a vampire, but they both also were sexually assaulted. They were held and sexually abused for many, many years. I found that to be a very startling, like, what? That's the same, you know? And then there was this part of the book, and I don't know if you remember when Oraya and Raihn were getting intimate and she touched his wing and he like shuddered a little bit. I can tell you that is the exact scene from ACOTAR. There was literally a scene where Feyre is touching Rhys's wing and he has that exact same reaction. So this is what I would say. Rhys's voice or Rain's voice sounded a lot like Rhys from ACOTAR. And I loved his voice because I loved Rhys and I loved ACOTAR despite how I feel about SJM, the author. But his was the only voice that I feel like didn't feel necessarily original because he reminded me so much of another character. He has some of the same attributes, but, and I mean, his character was still significant. I feel like it was true to the story. It was just familiar. Oraya had a very strong voice. I feel like it was consistent throughout. I could hear her while I was reading it. So, and all the other characters, I feel like they were really good. I liked their tone. I didn't feel like any of them were just like crazy or veering off or anything like that.
And I feel like in the clarity, I feel like the writing was clear for me.
Yeah. It wasn't confusing.
I'm a target audience member. I love the fantasy. I don't really like the deep dive, like Rage of Dragons type of book, right? I like my fantasy simple.
Same.
Simple and clear and concise with a good magic system.
This one was really good.
You know, a good power system. And I felt like she tackled it in the tone, right? And the tone, it matched the book because we know how vampires sound, right? Especially if you've seen enough vampires, you know, they have strong accents, either the British London or whatever type of accents they have. So I felt like in Vincent, he sounded like the Vincent from Underworld to me, right? Even listening to the book, he sounded like he spoke in that type of vernacular. So I think the tone matched the intention of the book. It was a vampire book. It was a Kejari game style. I'm going to crush you match. Everything matched the tone of the book for me.
Yep. I agree.
So let's move on to, now we go into the dialogue, right? This one is a big thing for me. The authenticity the functionality and the distinctiveness. Does the dialogue sound natural and believable? One, does the dialogue serve to move the story forward and develop characters? And do the characters have unique voices that are distinguishable in the dialogue?
Oh goodness, the dialogue. I'm such a dialogue girly. Like the dialogue is my bread and butter. Let me tell you something. I ate it up. I loved it. My favorite part was Rain's use of the word fuck. He would be like, what the fuck was that for? And the author would capitalize it, or he would be like, you can stay still for a fucking second. I just
when she threw him out the window.
Yes.
He came back like, yo, what the fuck was that? You've been holding that all this time?
Yes. And I remember when
Risha was like,
she thinks that he's about to hurt him. And so she like throws a knife or something and it just digs into his arm. And he's like, what the fuck was that for? I don't know. Every time he said it.
You crazy ass.
Literally, I cracked up. Him and Araya's dialogue too. It was banty. It was like their banter. Yes. It was witty. It was this underlying sexual tension through all of their interactions. You know what I mean? Like I could just tell. Like okay, they got to one of these days. They go, and they did.
Well,
they did, and it was glorious. But yes, even the dialogue during that scene when he said, "Araya, you have broken me. You have destroyed me." I said, "Oh, still my beating heart."
I rock with Raihn. I don't really mess with too many characters, but I really do. I really do rock with Raihn. Like he's one of those characters where I'm not really a good MMC. And like I like my MMC a certain way, but he definitely was like a main male character that I really was like, yo, I like this dude. You know what I'm saying?
I liked his voice. I like the stuff
his whole character, his swag and all that. Forget how he looked to her. I'm just talking about his swag, his demeanor. You know, he carried himself with grace, with elegance. Like I like him versus somebody like Xaden, who was just a complete asshole to me.
Yeah, right? He was an ass. Xaden's still my man though. My man. Don't be not too much on Xaden.
I got you. I don't want all the Shadow Zaddy girls to come at me. You know what I'm saying?
T-shirt that says Shadow Zaddy on it.
Oh my God. Terrible.
Yeah, but I like Raihn too.
Even the voices in the dialogue, it's really distinguishable, right? Because when I'm listening to it, Oraya sound like an asshole to me. You know what I'm saying? She was an asshole of Raihn when he was trying to be cool with you and all that. I like the sensitivity of Risha. I like they have, even in the tone, they have a distinguishable big brother, little sister type deal. You know what I'm saying? Or either I'm Unc and you're, you know what I mean, you're my niece. You know, even when she asks, when Oraya asks Risha, you know, have y'all been? He's like, she like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? Then we come to find out Raihn and Risha's backstory just a little bit. And I felt like their voices was distinguishable in that there wasn't no
confusion,
borders or confusion of who and what they meant to each other, if that makes sense.
No, that did. And I agree with everything you said. The dialogue was absolutely phenomenal. Like I just loved, like those are my favorite parts when the characters were talking or interacting. Like there was nothing that I was like, ooh, that's an awkward thing to say. It just, the sentences went together very nice. The dialogue, like I said, it's my bread and butter. If the dialogue is good, like I just
you could eat the book up.
And I did, because I just loved everything Araya and Raihn. Like they just back and forth. Oh, I just loved it. I loved it.
And that moves over to structure, right? And the composition, the chapter layout, and the transition. So that's kind of big in fantasies too, where you have the composition. Is the book well organized with a clear beginning, middle, and end? You have the chapter layout. Are chapters and section arranged in a way that enhances the narrative, keeps the story going? And are the transitions between scenes and chapters smooth?
Talked about this already. I love the authors like splitting it up into different parts. Like this is part 1, part 2. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if this is a science.
Fantasies.
Literally, it just, I don't know, it just made it easier for me to like digest this little bit before going on to the next bit. I don't know. It just does something when it's separated like that. I'm like, now moving on to the next part. And I feel like it flowed. I love the breakdown. I also feel like the chapters are pretty much consistent. There's sometimes I read books where one chapter will be 3 pages and the next is 30. I hate that. Like, please, can we keep them the same? I feel like the chapters are pretty much the same length. I said, I love that she broke it down into different sections. I think the book was structured very, very well. I would have wished for a dual point of view. You know, I love dual point of view, Jay, because I just really wanted to see what Raihn was thinking.
Was talking about
what he was because thinking. The way he would look at her was so sensual, and just the way he felt. I wanted to know how he felt. I really did. That was the only structure part. But it's not even that I didn't like it. It's just something that I would have wanted. But it didn't mean that the book wasn't good with Oraya being the narrator.
I felt like the chapters was very smooth. The transitions was great. When you have new moon, dusk, crescent moon, dark moon, dusk moon. Like when you go into that, I was like, okay, we're out of new. You know what I mean? We're out of dusk. Let's get into the next 5 chapters before we move into the next genre. That's how I like my fantasies, right?
Same.
So I felt like she did. Dialogue and structure was big and key in this rubric for me when it pertaining to this book. Emotional engagement. This is another big one right here. Yeah. The resonance. Does the book resonate emotionally with the reader? Investment. Does it make the reader invested in the outcome of the stories and characters?
Absolutely.
And the response. Does the book elicit an emotional response such as joy, sadness, and anger?
Absolutely. I lived, breathed Oraya. I was heard during the book. I was like, why would you do this? This is what you need to do, especially the ending. Like, my heart absolutely broke for her. Like, because, and the thing is, I was I told you, I've read this book before, so I kind of knew how it was going to end, but it was still as heartbreaking the first time as it was the second time, just knowing that she finally opened up her heart. And the guy that she loved basically betrays her. You know what I mean? He tried to save her.
Betray her though.
I mean,
and that's where the response, the emotion that I got, I didn't feel sad. I felt sad when he looked at her and said, yeah, he was toying with her. He knew he couldn't do what he wanted to do to her, right? So in turn, he just sacrificed himself, right? And it's not his fault. He did the ultimate, only one other person that sacrificed himself for the good of the people. And he's up in heaven.
But he lied by omission. You know what I mean? Like, he knew damn well if he would have told her, this is what Vincent has done, this is my plan and what I want to do if I win, she never would have brought his ass back. She never would have done it. And she even says that later in the book. She says, you lied to me. And he's like, I never lied to you. And she was like, what? You lied by omission? She said something like that. My heart was just broken for her because Vincent, although he did some fucked up shit, she don't have any other family, Jay. Like, he kills, what is it, Serenage or Serenade? He destroyed, he wiped out that land. If she had any family left, they're gone. Vincent was all she had. And although he did bad things and she knew that, and she was angry at him at point in the book, you know, she probably didn't want him to die. And it was just, he didn't even explain. He just rose up, slice and dice. Vincent's dead, you know? So
you can't put that on him though. He did the ultimate sacrifice. He said, to hell with my plans.
I don't care.
He said, to hell with my plans. I'm going to kill myself because I can't kill you. So I didn't go through with my plan.
All of what he did was emotional manipulation. All of it. The fact
that he knew he was going to come back?
No.
He didn't know he was going to come back?
No.
He sacrificed himself.
He knew what he would have done. He knew what he was going to do. And I feel like if she knew that, it would have changed everything. Like, that's why, but you see how we're arguing about it? We're emotionally invested.
Yeah, we are. Because I didn't feel bad when he came back. Because if I sacrifice myself for you, right? If I allow you to kill me and then you brought me back, I'm not about to let you kill me twice. I sacrificed myself for you for the greater good so you can live and you can do everything you wanted to do. I don't
understand what you're saying, Jay, but I was still heartbroken for her because, again, she didn't have all of the information. She laid her cards bare. She told him she wanted to be a Coriade. She told him what she wanted to do. He always evaded the question. And you know why? Because he knew if she knows what my plan is to do to her father, all this being cool and having sex and sexual tension would have been null and void. Because how the fuck am I going to be rocking with you and you want to kill my daddy? And that's my thing. That's why he didn't tell her, because he knew all that was going to be over. So while you say he sacrificed himself, great, whoop-de-doo, but you came back.
Whoop-de-doo on my death.
Whoop-de-doo. That was his choice. She said fight to the death. If she would have died, she would have been happy to die for him. And if he would have brought her back, she wouldn't have tried to kill him or any of his family. And you know what he did? He killed her dad. And then he, of course he didn't really mean it, but I'm going to rape her just like Vincent did our king.
Yeah,
and he basically forced her into marriage. She wasn't ready to marry him. It doesn't matter if they loved each other. So that's why I said she lost a lot. She lost the home that she knew because now the bloodborne vampires are running around. You know, that guy Septimus, he is bad news. You know what I mean? Then she's stuck in this castle with a bunch of vampires who they are not responding to Vincent. Vincent is dead. They don't have any restrictions on hurting her as a human.
That's why you got to take over. But
I feel bad for her. But yes, I was emotionally invested.
You want to know why he was able to sacrifice himself?
Go ahead, tell me.
Because he got the cheeks. Simple.
Jay, you can never
I already
be serious.
got the cheeks. I'm out of here.
You can never be serious. Guys, I was just like, okay, he's about to put some real...
Nah.
Jay, I was like, you about to say something real insightful. Not you gonna say.
I got the cheeks already. Stab me. I love you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was good. They did it multiple times until the morning sun. He said he had a list.
I don't got to live no more. I already beat. I worked hard with you for the last 4 months in Kejari. I had sex with you all night. You know what I'm saying? We went rounds. I made you, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what? I gave you that Orlando Brown. That whatever he did. Yeah. Yeah, I gave you all that, so I'm out of here. I did my job, because what if she was pregnant? Now he got to be like...
No, but literally, I was thinking that when she was like, you know, his warmth filled me, I'm like, are you on birth control?
Yo, my son.
I swear, in fantasy books, this is a thing. Like, they don't
never got condoms.
Never. And I'm like, I don't know if they just didn't exist back then.
They didn't exist in bed.
Because I'm just like, damn, do y'all just, like, girl, you just met him 4 months ago.
And that's some nasty vampire. Like, that's some real... She a freak. I ain't gonna lie. That kind of turned me on.
Edward and Bella got down and dirty. I mean, he was a vampire.
Bella's a bitch, so that's different.
Wait. Excuse me. What did you just say? How is she a bitch? How is she a bitch and a hoe?
She's a
hoe. Explain it to me. No, we gonna see it. Explain it to me.
Is she a hoe? Like, we all know Bella. We know Bella hoe. We know Bella hoe.
Explain to me how she's a
Bella.
hoe.
What you mean?
No, explain to me.
You rode another man's motorcycle. Another man keep you warm. You told another man you loved him. You kissed another man in front of your dude. It's over for you, Bella.
And you know why she did those things? Because he left her.
To make him jealous.
No. You don't read the books. Edward left her. She has every right to move on.
I never know when he left. He left for her good, but...
You need to watch Grey's Anatomy. Meredith Grey says something. She says, you broke me, and you don't get to judge how I fix what you broke. And that's exactly true with Edward and Bella. He broke her when he left. He doesn't get to judge how she chose to get over him, whether that is moving on with someone who's age appropriate, who is the same age as her, considering he's hundreds of years old. And I'm Team Edward. I don't give a damn. If she wants to be with Jacob, that was her right. He left her being stupid, knowing that his ass was going to come back. And she moved on with Jacob, and she fell in love with him because Edward was gone. Now when he comes back, is she supposed to just let Jacob go? And now he's a werewolf too? No. Don't you dare call my girl Bella a hoe. She was conflicted. And she didn't sleep with Jacob.
Let me ask you this. You asked me, did I see Grey's Anatomy, right? No, I didn't see Grey's Anatomy. You know, you heard of the Ludacris? He's a hoe. Oh, I said that shit. Hoe activities. Hoes are your friends. Hoes are your enemies.
Calling her a hoe because she rode somebody's motorcycle.
Listen, not only that, she let another keep him warm. He looking at him while he keeping her warm.
What was Edward supposed to do? He's an ice block. If he didn't keep her warm, she would have died. She would have froze.
Then you freeze like an icicle. I don't want to hear that.
If it was Michael, you left me. And I moved on, and this other now we trapped in a tent. And this other man is warmer than you.
That's crazy.
What are you? What? I'm cold. I'm selfish. I don't want to freeze. You're a vampire. You're fine. They was in a literal blizzard. I don't give a damn. I'd be like, look.
There's blankets for that.
You left me for a whole month. I'm about to snuggle on up, and I would have done it vindictively, and I don't care. Yep, you about to watch me snuggle up to another man because you left me for a year, and you know I still love you, boo. But you gonna sit here and no, Michael would never go for that. It would be a fight in that.
Exactly my point.
I seen this video. It was have you seen that guy? He goes into Walmart and he helps women who are with their men with stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I showed Michael and he was just like, yeah, he want to die if he ever did that to you. And I'm like, calm down. It's just a prank. Relax, I know damn well he wouldn't let me in a tent with somebody sleeping in a sleeping bag. He'd be like, oh, okay, so y'all motherfuckers want to die tonight.
Enjoy. Number 9, we get into the end. Enjoyment and entertainment value. This one is quick. Engagement. Was the book engaging, and did it hold your attention?
Absolutely.
And obviously we reading it and we recommending it. So it's already, is this book something the reviewers would recommend to others? We're reviewing it right now. So we're recommending it to you guys.
Absolutely.
So the rereadability, you've already done it twice, right?
Yep.
So you've already reread this book. I don't know if I'm going to come back to it, but I wouldn't mind if I have to come back to it, I wouldn't mind reading it again. It was that good. So it does have rereadability factors in it.
I agree. I've actually bought the whole series. So And
I think the entertainment value was amazing.
It's amazing. It's definitely one that I could see myself rereading. When I get favorite series, sometimes I just get this feeling where I need some nostalgia. I want to read something easy that I've already read. This is going to be one of those series I can tell. Like, I've already bought all of the books because I have to have all of them. And I don't buy books that I read unless I feel like I'm going to reread them. So definitely this is, and I will say this, I rated this book a three bookmarks when I first read it. And we're going to get to what we rated it. I'm just gonna say I reread it.
Hold that.
I like this.
I don't even want you to.
I didn't tell you.
I don't want you to get there. Let's get to the last point. Let's get to the last point in a 10-point rubric.
Oh, fine.
Overall impressiveness and impact. Will this book leave a lasting impression on the reader?
Yes.
Does the book contribute anything new or noteworthy to its genre? And how well does this book fulfill its potential based on all of the above criteria?
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. We gotta backtrack this. We can't just let this one go, right? Did it leave an lasting impression on you?
It did. It really did. I'm gonna tell you, I don't even usually remember character names. Like,
I remember everybody.
Literally,
Ibrahim, Jessamine,
the Coriate,
what's his
name?
Angelica,
Ian, Serenade,
Risha, Oraya, Lana, Vincent, Oraya, like, we just know, like, I know these characters, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's how I feel. I usually could just finish a book and forget characters' names. You know 100%, what I mean?
100%.
I remembered every one of these characters' names. It definitely has a lasting impact. I've already said it's definitely going to be a series that I reread, and I've just really loved it. I think the author did an amazing job.
And I think that it is fulfilled its potential. It filled the potential and the criteria of fantasy. It's up there with some of the top fantasies that I've read thus far. And I'm pretty sure I've heard nothing but good things, whether people think it's Hunger Games. Nobody said it was bad. People just said, they compare it to Hunger Games. But
which they tend to do. Like they compare it to the ones all that came the time, before.
Right?
That
but
happens.
I just feel like the lasting impact, it definitely left it on me. It let it left a lasting impression on me to start the next book in the series, right? Because it's a 5-book series. And it has like 2, like you said earlier, it has a 0.5, like 1.5, like the novellas in there to kind of fill in some gaps, which I think is dope too. So I'm definitely going to finish the series, right? I'm going to finish the series and we're going to cover the series and everything like that. But now it's time. It is time for the actual rating of the book. And if y'all follow us, we don't do what you call it stars here at the Key and J Book Park podcast. We do bookmarks rating 1 through 5, 5 being the greatest, right? 1 being obviously the lowest. So in all of our rubrics between plot, characters, setting, world building, themes, ideas, writing style, overall impressions, enjoyment, entertainment value, emotional engagement, structure, and dialogue, what is your rating on this book from 1 to 5 bookmarks?
I rated it 4.5 bookmarks.
Whoa!
And Jay knows that that's unheard of because
that is big.
I don't be rating books nothing but above 3 stars, like 3 stars.
That is big.
I rated it, and that's what I was getting to. The first time I read this book, I gave it 3 stars. I read it the second time, and I'm like, what did I dislike about the book again? I couldn't even remember. The only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars, this is a very petty reason.
Here we go.
I will admit this. So I just felt like in the end, when Oraya sees Raihn's back and she realizes that he has the air mark, I didn't understand why she didn't see it when she was stitching up his back earlier. Like, I understood his back was a mess. It was a mess, but when she even talks about it, she was just like, I can't believe I missed it because, his back is scarred, but it's still there. And she even talks about this scene where his scars have healed over and she can see like the pink flesh from when they torture him. And I'm thinking, so you were that close to see that scar, but you didn't see any evidence of an air mark. I just found that to be unbelievable. I wish that he got maybe an injury on his leg that she fixed, because then the fact that she hadn't seen the air mark, it made sense. I mean, she wasn't looking at his back during sex, she would have never seen it. But the fact that she stitched his back up and didn't notice anything, I just didn't find that believable. That's a really petty reason.
Nah, you good. You good.
But I'm like, that was the one part that I'm like, she should have noticed it. She should have suspected it something. But yes, I rated it a 4.5. The only other thing that I didn't like, I already talked about, was I wanted more information on Nyaxia, but again, I recognize that it's a series and it didn't really tamper my ability to enjoy the book. I just wanted more information, but I really, really enjoyed this book. I love the whole system. It was easy. Like Jay said, it was simple. Fantasy books are not simple. This one was. I didn't have any questions about how, you know what I mean? So I really liked it. 4.5 stars. But bookmarks.
For me, there you go. For me, I gave it 4 bookmarks. Mm-hmm. And the reason I gave it 4 bookmarks is because I want something to look forward to in the next books. I don't want to jump out there and be like, because my initial rating was 4.7, right? But I don't want to jump out there and do 4.7 on the bookmark scale. And then we get into the next book. And then it's like, it's not hitting the same way it was. I want to start low and I want to end high, right?
I see you. I feel you.
But the book is amazing, right? She did amazing on all points. It tackled everything. Like my initial one is 4.7, but I got to break it down to 4.0 because we got to get into that next book.
And
I want the next book
really high.
Right. And I don't want to put so much pressure on it where I'm going into it, listening to it with Serpent in the Wings. You know what I'm saying? Serpent in the Wings of Night is, and then we get to the next book, and I'm
telling you, I hope it doesn't suffer from that sequel. That's the curse of the sequel. When the first book is so good, the second book almost never matches up. And I feel like that was the case. Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. I was like, what the hell is this?
Fourth Wing was crazy.
Right. It was a 5 out of 5 star. I read Iron Wing or Iron Flame. I was like, what happened? And it happens so many times. That second book, it suffers from the second book sequel curse. I'm telling you. But I'm okay starting my stuff high. Carissa, she's made a fan out of me. I can't believe I rated 3 stars the first time. I was like, what was I thinking? I love this. I love all of it. I love it. How can I rate it 3 stars? I loved it.
But there you go, man. This is our wrap up for the first book in her series. What is it? Like we talked about earlier, it's a mini book series and we'll be coming back to it. This is probably going to be the last style of books from authors that are not and we'll talk about that at another time. But we started it, we finished it. So we read it, we finished it, and I felt like we needed to talk about it. But I think we're going to finish her series as well. And then we'll dive into the series for us by us. If you know, you know.
Yes, if you know, you know.
Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here?
No, other than definitely this is a book that I would recommend. If you're new to fantasy, if you like vampires, I think this is the perfect book for you because fantasy can be confusing. Let me be the first to tell you. I've DNF'd 7, 8, 9, 10 fantasy books because I'm like, what the fuck am I reading? This book is not like that. I understood, and I use fuck, by the way, because of Raihn in the book. Y'all get it? Because, yeah, okay. But I absolutely love this book. As you can see, as me and Jay were discussing at the end, we are so emotionally invested. The characters are amazing. They are morally gray characters, so there is no character that's just 100% right or wrong. Love that because we get diversity in motives, and the book is amazing. That's all I have to say. Thank you for Carissa for your words. I've started saying this on my book review. Thank you, the authors, for your words because they will live with me forever and ever. I love the books.
Until next time, she's that reader. I'm just a speaker. Peace.